Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about data integrity in pharmaceutical industry. We are going to talk about 6 major points on the data integrity. Principles of data integrity risk assessment, data criticality and risk, design robust compliance system, data interpretation and good documentation practice. What are the principles of data integrity? Data recorded as per GMP requirement and ensuring data is complete, consistent, and accurate throughout the data life cycle. Data can be presented on paper or electronic or combination of both. Another principle is organizational culture and behavior. Organizational culture and behavior should encourage each and every person on site to follow the data integrity and create the right environment to implement effective data integrity on site. Data governance policy should be effective and endorsed at the highest level. So principle of data integrity should come from the higher management and filter through the last person on site. Data integrity risk assessment. All the data present on the site or used to generate in decision making process, wherever is applicable, it should be risk assessed. Develop system to maintain and control data and periodic review of data integrity audit. There should be a system for each and every site to periodically review the data integrity implementation on site, and there should be a data integrity committee who can randomly check and visit different department on site. Contingency procedures should not impact on data integrity control. Apply to automated computerized system to paper-based system or vice versa. All, all firms should have their contingency procedure in case of any failures on site, but this contingency procedure or failure should not impact on data integrity or no data should be compromised. Holistic approach for any identify data integrity weakness. If company identify any data integrity weakness in one particular department, but companies should take the holistic approach and identify any other weakness on site and address those weaknesses in a similar way. Notification to regulatory authority when significant data integrity incident identify. Any data integrity incidents which could impact the product or patient, there should be notification to regulatory authority in case of any recall or any suggestion from the regulatory authority. Effectively implementation of Alcoa Plus. We'll discuss Alcoa Plus later on the slides. Data integrity risk assessment. What is data integrity risk assessment and what it involves? Consider factors impacting on process or function of the system. So any factor that could impact the normal process or function of the system, which could lead to the risk to the data. Common factors are computerized system, people, SOP, training, quality system. Computerized system required fully validated and routinely monitored. People are fully trained and awareness about the data integrity. There should be a robust SOP which follow the regulatory guidance as well to ensure all the data generated on site are comply with the Alcoa Plus principle. There should be an appropriate training and refresher training program for each and every personnel on site. And there should be a quality system which follows and monitor the data integrity. Automated validated system can reduce data integrity risk. That all the automated systems should be fully validated as per the CAM category or CSV validation to reduce the data risk and all the produced data are compliant with the data integrity criteria. Human intervention influence on data record, report, retain, verification, poor systematic control, poor validation plan increase data integrity risk. Any human intervention that could affect the data, like in lab data record and checking of data verification, keeping all the data in a proper archive way. There should be a proper archive procedure to protect the data. Data integrity risk remediation action should be documented, discussed, and reviewed by quality management. There should be a proper backup in case of any failure and any risk to the data due to that failure. There should be a backup plan uh, and there should be a SOP to follow. And that should be implemented by the higher management and look after by the higher management. Data integrity risk remediation action should categorize by long-term and short-term. Where long-term action required, short-term action has clearly target problem. There should be a long-term action to where it's required bigger investment and a future development plan of the company. The short term is temporary remediation of any data integrity issue, and that there should be a people briefing or temporary change control. Data criticality and risk. Critical data can influence on quality, safety, and efficacy of product and decision-making process by quality assurance, quality control department, and qualified person. Risk of data deletion, amendment, exclusion without authorization, and loss of traceability. If any data is lost, there will be a problem for the traceability if any market complaint or any during the product life cycle or data retention policy or data life cycle. Process complexity, inconsistency, inconclusive outcome, increased data risk. If there is a no linear process and if it is a very complicated process, it always includes the data risk. There should be a process which simple and each and every person on site can understand it to reduce the data risk. Common data sources are paper, electronic, hybrid, or any other source of information. Paper data. These are the handwritten data, and sometimes handwritten or printed data are required second independent person verification to reduce the risk measure of the data. Electronic data. Complexity of the electronic system is the biggest risk to the data. Validation of electronic system to reduce the risk, like functionality, configuration, user intervention, and data lifecycle. There should be a proper process to validate the computerized system or electronic system to reduce any data lost and to ensure that all the data are trustful. Hybrid data. These are the combination of paper and electronic data, where few electronics data can be verified by the operator, but few data are printed data by the electronic system, and that should be required further review and approval. Other information such as photograph, any image, photocopy, where original copy fade, control storage of data. Some are the thermal printout over the time that data can be fed. So most of the company have a policy to take the photocopy and how to retain it. Design robust compliance system. Synchronized clock system for traceable timestamp with correct time zone. Synchronized clock system is like with any software or any other system. If they are working together, there should be a proper synchronization to avoid any difference between the time to reduce the data risk. Control over raw data recording and its accessibility. The raw data, if it is recorded by electronic system or paper-based system. There should be appropriate control and accessibility for the trained staff only. Use of controlled logbook with number pages to prevent recreation of primary data. This is like particularly applied to quality control lab where all the experimental data are recorded on controlled logbook, and those logbooks with page, in case of any page lost or damage, there should be a proper justification for that, and this provide extra control over the data. Access control of computerized system to prevent amendment of data and audit trail. There should be a admin access and normal access to for the computerized system to minimize the risk who can access the data, and only trained and appropriate person can access the sensitive data, and all the audit trails and the audit trail stamps, timestamp can be visible during the review of or periodic review of the audit trail. Use of interface like barcode scanner, automated weighing printer, batch access system to eliminate manual entries and reduce human interaction. Trained people and validated systems. These are the another key factor. Trained people can have the proper awareness about the data integrity, and they will reduce the data risk and more compliant with the GMP. All the validated system can generate the data. They are the trustful and reduce the data risk. Access of record, reconciliation of printout to data verification team. Any printout like from the weighing machine or any system or any manufacturing process system, all the record and all the printout are should be reconciliation by the data verification team to avoid any data lost or data damage. Promote work environment that provides sufficient time, equipment, and clear instruction. The work environment should provide each and every person like sufficient time to understand the data integrity and to complete the proper training. And there should be a routine training and for refresher training to keep this highly data integrity work environment on site. SME involvement in risk assessment, quality metrics for DI. There should be a subject matter expert who is involved in the risk assessment of data and manage the quality metrics related to data integrity. There should be a team working under the SME who are representing each and every department on site to generate the metrics and the common mistake, and then there should be a workshop to minimize this kind of error. When scriber is recording the data, this kind of instant is should be justifiable. Like when scriber is recording data, this should be contemporaneous recording. Clearly identify who is performing the task, who is recording the data. There should be initial and date for the clear identification. All involved person should train to carry out an activity. Sometimes there is a team who carry out the activity, but due to any inconvenience, only one person is recording data. But in that case, even all the team, each and every member should be properly trained. Task briefings should be given to all person involved. Documents should be signed by all person involved. This gives the evidence that the all person have understood the task before they have start, and they are signing for that they have completed the task as per the brief or instruction or any written procedure. Data interpretation and good documentation practice will be discussed in part 2 of data integrity video. Thank you.